Good morning, YouTube, and nomad friends and family and everybody else, all my people that know me and follow my channel. I want to give you an update on the flu. You could see I'm sitting up. I did a whole video yesterday and I lost internet connection and it accidentally got deleted, along with all the footage, every piece of footage I had on all the Thanksgiving stuff from the boondocking bash where I was for Thanksgiving. So I'm sitting on a stool in my friend Dave Diffner's rig, and I am making a very simple, quick broth in the fry pan here. Because hydration is really important when you get the flu. So this 2019 flu season has been is pretty serious. The flu strain is pretty serious, and I just want to talk about these things and about staying healthy and helping people to help you in life. Big factors. Let's see. Big factors. I don't have any notes in front of me, people. But big factors are, please, somewhere in your home or your rig, depending on whether you're out as a nomad or not, please have important emergency information like phone numbers for family members and doctors, and any information about possible allergies you may have or medical conditions. Please have that somewhere in your space, in your home. As nomads, it used to be a common thing that we taught each other early on to tape that information on a card or something inside your glove box. So people would first get in your rig if something happened to you and look in your glove box for that information. And we figured it would be taped to the door or the wall or something in the glove box. In a home, you might have a thing on your refrigerator, or I haven't been in a house in a long time, but I'm trying to think, a bulletin board, or you might have it on the back of a medicine cabinet or something. But please have that stuff where someone can find it without too much trouble. In my case, I need to be very aware that I list many things that I'm allergic or sensitive to. You guys will notice in this video that the right side of my face is not quite normal, and it is very much improved from what it was. I was very scared about this. I took a medication. I only took 2 pills, 2 doses of it, and had an allergic reaction. And it caused, I have forgotten the exact medical terminology, but it caused like a paralysis of the right side of my face, which was very difficult because that also means it was half of my mouth and my lips, and trying to drink, the liquid wouldn't even go in, my nostril, and it affected my eye. And it was pretty severe. When it happened, on a scale of 1 to 10, that event was a 9. And had I been completely alone, I would have called an ambulance and gone to the hospital. Not being completely alone, I weathered it carefully with a lot of monitoring. And yesterday it was a 7. Now this morning I feel like it's a 6, but I haven't even had a drink yet. I'm waiting on this broth. So it's very important. This was a medication I did not know I was allergic to, but it's very obvious that this was a serious allergic reaction, and it was dangerous. Now I want to get back to, so please remember to, on that important information card or document, whatever you place somewhere special, make sure it has your full name, your birth date, your doctor's name and phone number if you have one, your preferences for, what you kind of want to happen or not happen, like take me to the hospital or don't take me to the hospital kind of things, your dog's name, who you've designated to take care of your dog, um, things like Lisa's allergic to this particular medication, your blood type would be a good thing. But at least some general things, family members, phone numbers. Okay, in my case, I am not close with my birth family at all, but my daughter and I are in contact lately, and I have two good friends who are my emergency phone contacts, and they all have information on how to get a hold of my daughter. So, um, those phone numbers should all be on that kind of paper. So that's the kind of information I'm speaking of. And again, place it in a specific place and tell someone. If you're a nomad and you're traveling, tell neighboring people in your camp situation that you have this. Speak about this at campfires occasionally, that you have this, and that in your rig it's in your glove box or wherever, so that if something were to happen, that there's a way for somebody to find the information. I think that that's a very vital thing. Even in a home, if you're stationary and you're not out here as a nomad like I am, you might, it's still a necessary thing. Because if you have to call the ambulance and by the time they get to you, you can't speak. They need the information. So, okay. So that's one point. Another point is, please have some sort of first aid kit for yourself or flu kit for yourself. Designate a little area, a little container, a kid's lunchbox, something. But something that has the kinds of medications you're safe with and that work well for your body, because we're all different. And have some of those things in your first aid kit or flu kit, so that, like for me, for example, I need to have electrolytes in my flu kit that are safe for me, because I didn't even realize I couldn't use Pedialyte. I wondered why I'd never tried it. It has dextrose in it, and I'm one of the 1% of people in the United States that can't do dextrose. Go figure, right? But I can do Gatorade Zero, but it tasted horrible this time. And honestly, I'd rather do just natural things. So if I could just have broths, I'd be better. And I have found over the years that a certain kind of powdered lemonade or dehydrated lemon, like I think it's True Lemon. It comes in little packets. That I'm okay with, and if it's mixed with honey in hot water, that works really well for me. And if you put just a little pink Himalayan salt in it, it really works well to get some electrolytes in. So I recommend that you do that, and you make it very important that it fits you, so that if you got as sick as I got this time with this full-on flu in 2019, you could just say to somebody, in my rig, there is this bag. Get that bag. That's what we need to use. Okay. Some tips and tricks. And then I'm going to give you what the symptoms have been. And this flu this year is bad, people. It is really bad. Anyway, tips and tricks. I learned from being a traveler for years and traveling to other countries and being in third world country, low income situations in other countries, that some of our best antibiotic defenses are herbs and things that some people consider food items. But the items like rosemary and myrrh and garlic, Oh my gosh, garlic will kick all kinds of infections, and there's ways to use it for things you wouldn't even know. I mean, you could cut a garlic clove and rub it on a sore, and it will heal faster. Honey. There's a number of things, and there are lists of natural antibiotics online that you can find and look up. During this flu season, I had someone bring me a wonderful bowl of garlic soup that I could feel was kicking the butt of this infection. And so I recommend that you know, go heavy on the garlic if you can, if you do get flu or sick. Let's see. So that's natural remedies, or some. Herbal teas are good, but you need to be careful with them because teas are a medicine. And so if you don't really understand the properties, there are some that can lower blood pressure or do other things too that you need to be aware of those. But if you're aware, they're wonderful. So, you know, put in your arsenal what you know works well for you, and then be careful with them. But we don't want anybody to accidentally hurt themselves by, you know, getting their blood pressure too low or thinning their blood out when they don't need to. Another thing, you know, the elderly and the young are going to get illnesses a little more severe because we have weaker systems. But we can get through these things. Let's see what else. Make sure that you're really clean with. It's fine to get dirty, and I am, you know, in the world, but I am a proponent of getting dirty and letting germs be around people. But you want to be careful with a flu bug, that you're taking extra care to wash your hands, to not touch, you know, things you blew your nose on more than once, you know, and then if you're using an actual hanky as opposed to, or bandana as opposed to tissues, which are wasteful, that you wash it, and you wash it well, without touching it too much, and wash it in extra hot water, like maybe boil it once somebody's been severely sick, because you want to kill those bugs and get rid of them, because we don't want those things to continue to make other people around us sick. If you do use paper products, like tissues and things like that, put them directly in the trash so that someone else doesn't have to pick them up and get reinfected in order to throw them away. So just provide a little trash bag near the person who's sick so that they blow their nose, it's going straight in the trash, and it doesn't get handled so many times. Know in your community or neighborhood, get to know your neighbors. You don't have to love everybody. You know, nobody said you have to love everybody, but know them enough so that if there was an emergency, you could ask for help if you need it. And especially if you're out in the nomad community, get to know your neighbors. Out here, we're more like one big family, and you will be closer with one group or tribe or something more than somebody else, because that's the way humans are. But know who's more medically inclined, who's a healer kind of person, and know what their phone numbers are in case you need that. Know who you can call if you can't help yourself. And if you're at some kind of event or gathering situation, nomad or not, just be aware that you know where help could be. Now, I've been coming to this quartzsite area where I am for the winter right now. I've been coming here for about 11 years, and I know where the emergency quartzsite clinic, I forgot what it's called. It's not really an urgent care, but they have a clinic here, and I know where that is, and I know where the ambulance station is. They even have a helicopter where they can fly people out from, and I know where those are in quartzsite. I make sure that every town I go to, I at least know where there's a fire station, just in case. because I have some pretty severe things. If you can, know your location. If you're a nomad, if you're out boondocking, it's a wonderful idea to have one of the uh, Lucy Emerge lights. Those lights are a little less expensive. They're not as large as a Lucy. They're a little smaller Lucy light. And now a Lucy light is a solar powered inflatable light. And it can be put even in a bug out bag for someone that wants to do that. But it compacts very small, and it has a solar panel on the top, and the solar panel can charge through a glass window. So a lot of nomads will keep them on the dashboard of their car or some or vehicle to keep them charged. But those Lucy Emerge have a red flashing light on them, and that red flashing light is an SOS signal. And they were at first marketed toward people who were on boats, and because they'll float, which is a great idea as well. I mean, somebody might benefit from that. But I have had to use one of those before in a very rural location to get an ambulance to me for an allergic reaction. And all I did was I attached it to the roof rack on my Honda when I had the Honda Passport, and I called the ambulance, and I did my best to give good verbal directions on where I was, because they were having trouble getting the set signal from my cell phone. This this reaction makes it difficult to talk. So I hope you can understand me. So all of those things, those are good, emergency things to have. Now I want to talk more. This is going to be a long video, I apologize, but I want to talk more about this year's flu, because I had what I thought was just a little cold, and I had it for about 4 or 5 days, and during those 4 or 5 days I just had cold symptoms. So I knew in my current nomad community and no and camp neighborhood, I knew who were the uh, um, medically talented people. So I already knew a couple of people. If something happens, I'll call that one or this one. And I actually, because I was helping in more of an administration leadership kind of role with people, I actually got phone numbers. And I think that if you're in a situation where you have a leader in your group, you should encourage that leader to make a list of phone numbers just in case. I think it's useful. So, so I already knew the people that were around me. But I had this cold situation, and I had already talked to a couple of them about, this cold thing is kind of, yucky, but, I've seen a couple of people coughing. No big deal. I'm taking medicine. There's nothing I need to know, right? And they're like, no, you're probably okay. There are some people with flu, but you seem to be doing fine. You probably be okay. So I was taking over-the-counter severe cold and flu medicine, as well as using, some of these things sound old-fashioned, but they've worked for a lot of years, along with using mentholatum, which is a Vicks vapor rub kind of thing, on the bottoms of my feet because it draws infection out, and on my chest, and a little bit under my nose, so that you're breathing it a little bit, to keep your passages clear. And so I was already doing those things. And then this past Wednesday morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, I woke up, like from a dead sleep, woke up kind of in a weird way, like, crap, what's wrong? Grabbed my phone, dialed the closest neighbor to me that I knew was up early in the morning, and said, something's wrong, help. Set the phone down, didn't turn it off, just set it down. Opened the door to my minivan. I thought I was going to vomit, and I did. But I managed to do it outside the van, and the person was close enough that they were out there by that time. They grabbed the mat away, so I missed the mat. And then basically, to make the story short, That didn't come out right. The story short. Oh yeah, it did. Maybe it did. Anyways, I basically rolled out of the van onto my mat, and I then knew that I had the full blown flu. So I was having both diarrhea and vomiting for hours, and it was dark outside when it happened. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't know when they moved me, but I could not move my muscles at all. And so I laid on that mat, and it was raining off and on. And I asked this person to please take my sleeping bags and cover me so I wouldn't get too wet. My sleeping bags, I purposefully have a kind that is uh, not down, so that when they get wet, you can still stay warm. So I knew that they would protect me from the water. So I laid on the mat because I couldn't move, and I'm still vomiting, and it wasn't pretty, people. But I laid out there for probably 3 hours or more until the other person was able to get the attention of some help, and then the help lifted me into a different person's rig on their bed, and then I could not stand up for 3 days. I couldn't get to the bathroom myself for 3 days. I stopped vomiting fairly soon, but I wasn't eating anything. And I immediately went on broths because everything else, and now in my case with my allergies, I tried to drink some things and I couldn't. And so even water was making me throw up. But once we got broth into me, and especially the garlic soup that was brought to me, it was a little salty and it was very garlicky. It was a little bitter, but oh my gosh, that kicked this in the butt. And then I started to feel better. And so yesterday was the first day that I have been standing up, and that's why I'm sitting near the stove and stirring my broth at the same time, which I'm going to have to add more water to after I finish talking to you guys. This is a longer video than I like, but I think it's important, so I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm sorry I lost yesterday's. I thought it was pretty good, but whatever. At least I'm sitting up today. I feel better. This allergic reaction has improved. So um, let's see. Um, yeah, make sure that, okay, so the best broths are broths that are vegetable broths, and either chicken or turkey um, broths. I have a go-to broth for Lesa that has worked for years, that's very inexpensive and very simple to make. And it basically is a quarter of a pound of frozen ground turkey, and a can of green beans, and a lot of water, and garlic, pink Himalayan salt, and and that's basically it. Because if I'm really, really, really sick, I can open a can of green beans. If I have the turkey, I can get it here. Now, I don't use refrigeration, so I don't have the turkey often. So there are other alternatives. You can buy a chicken broth. You can have chicken soup. But broth just does something healing, and I really am a big fan of, make broths for your friends and family when they're sick, and help them to get better by having really healthy, good stuff. Um, um, okay, now I want to take a recap. I told you about, please make sure you have emergency information. I told you about keeping a flu kit, or a first aid kit of some kind that works for you. I'm going to need to probably, I used to have a bracelet that I wore that had a piece of paper inside of it. I know it's kind of old school, but it worked. And on that piece of paper, you wrote what you knew you were allergic to and your emergency phone number. And I may have to find that and wear that again, because this allergic reaction was scary and it could have killed me. So, okay, so emergency information, knowing your neighbors, help each other out, because when you're this kind of sick, many of us that are nomads, many of us in life anyways, are kind of alone, and we need help. This is, hugs are wonderful, but if you're prone to getting sick, here's another thing I forgot. If you're prone to getting sick, like I am, my system's weak, um, get the surgical face masks like they do in Japan and wear them. I mean, if I go to Walmart anytime soon, I'm wearing one. I don't care what it looks like. Sure, it would be cool if it could match my outfit, but you know what? That ain't the important thing. The important thing is I don't get sick again, because a relapse of this would be really hard, and I don't want to do it again. It's bad. So, I hope that I've given you some helpful information and haven't just rambled for 25, 26 minutes. I don't think I did. But yeah, drink fluids. And clear liquids are always better, because you need to let the mucus, give your body what it needs to heal itself. And it needs rest, and it needs quiet, and it needs fresh air. Leave the windows open a little. It needs, clear liquids that can help it process, because the process of getting rid of something that it needs to get rid of is by vomiting, diarrhea, and getting mucus out of your system. And then once you start to feel stronger, add a little, preferably white rice. Most of the world is not allergic to white rice, but some are. There's people allergic to all kinds of things. But preferably when you start to get stronger, you need to add a little more bulk, so you can start to have your bowels move, so you can get rid of the rest of the stuff. And so I'm beginning to add some white rice to some of my things. Right now it's still, I'm getting a little bit of, it's pretty liquidy, but I like my stuff liquidy, and I can't drink a lot of other stuff. So take care of yourselves, people. Take care of each other. Remember that, in this world, we're all family, you know, and we need each other. And so do your best. And even if you're a crotchety, crankety person, or your neighbor's crotchety and crankety, we can still care about them. Okay? And we don't have to love everybody, but we can help them. And sometimes helping them is the best thing. And I mean, even me, with my face feeling like it does, and the last couple of days and feeling as bad as I have, I'm not the I'm not the most horrible person. I'm so grateful, but I know, we all get, like, I just can't take anymore, and during this, you're so dizzy, you can't. The dizzy is incredible. The nausea is incredible. Light hurts your eyes. Sound, it's painful to try to listen to somebody. And so I had to, it probably seemed cranky to some people, but I had to just say, guys, I can't listen to you. Could you go a little further away to talk, please? And they're like, are you okay? No, I'm not. I'm sorry, but please, could you go a little bit further away? Because it hurts. And I had to block the windows so that, I left the air flow, but block the windows. Okay, I'm going to let you have this. You guys keep it as simple as you can, but keep safe and take care of yourself. And I hope you got some good points out of this, and you have a wonderful day. And thank you to everybody who's helped me, and whoever told the tribe out here that I'm with that I was well and didn't need any more help. Shame on you. And to the rest of you, I'm not well yet, but I am improving, and now I can sit on a stool for a half an hour and talk to you guys. So we will see you soon. Stay healthy.